In our main story this morning, we look at Air Zimbabwe, and that's Zimbabwe's national airline. Air Zimbabwe Private Limited, operating as Air Zimbabwe, is a national carrier of Zimbabwe, headquartered at R.G. Mugabe International Airport in Harare. From its hub at R.G. Mugabe International Airport, the carrier used to operate a network within Southern Africa that also included Asia and London Gatwick. The ailing national airline is seeking a government bailout in clearing pre-Reconstruction legacy debts that continuously make it difficult to attract strategic investment partners to turn around the entity. Air Zimbabwe owes foreign creditors up to $30 million, while 9 government-related firms are owed $292 million. Despite the recent acquisition of 2 Boeing 777-200ER aircraft, the airline has found the going tough and was subsequently placed under reconstruction in October 2018. In a notice to Air Zimbabwe creditors, the administrator, Mr. Reggie Saruchera of Grant Thornton, said, and I quote, "A process to solicit for a strategic partner or investor was undertaken, but none of the parties that expressed interest and submitted investment bids was successful." The national airline will be leasing out the 2 Boeing 777-200ER aircraft in the immediate future, pending reintroduction of international flights. The Mint spoke to First Me Vittori, PR and Corporate Communication Officer at Air Zimbabwe.
And why strategic partnerships were not successful, I will refer you to an update which was issued by the administrator on the 19th of February 2020. And on why Air Zimbabwe is considering leasing the 2 recently acquired Boeing aircrafts. You'll appreciate that a B777 is a long-haul, or what we call an extended range aircraft, which is best suited for international flights such as London, China, and many such other destinations. However, in order for us to resuscitate the international routes, we first need to develop a robust domestic and regional network, which then becomes the feeder for the long-haul international flights, which will be operated by the B777s. Critical to enhancing passenger loads for these routes is the rejoining by the national airline to IATA clearinghouse and activation of the global distribution systems to allow Air Zimbabwe flights to be sold globally.
The Mint also spoke to South African-based commercial aviation expert Ogaga Ujo to hear his views on leasing.
With regards to the question on whether it's beneficial for Air Zimbabwe to lease out the 2 777-200s that they have just acquired from Malaysia Airlines, that really depends on the terms and conditions of the contract, and it also depends on what type of lease arrangement is it. Is it a wet lease agreement? Is it a dry lease agreement? Or is it a damp lease agreement? With regards to the former, a wet lease would mean that aircraft crew maintenance and insurance form part of the package of the lease. And with regards to a dry lease, on the other hand, it would just effectively be the aircraft. And all options have different obligations as well as benefits and potential disadvantages between both parties. So given the absence of having public information about the details of those lease agreements, one isn't able to provide an informed opinion on whether it's beneficial that Air Zimbabwe has leased out these 2 aircraft. We assume that the lease agreement has been made on commercial principles, which inherently should mean that this is beneficial to the airline over and above keeping it within their.
We further asked Ms. Vittori of Air Zimbabwe to give us an update on the state of Air Zimbabwe's fleet.
On the status of our fleet, we are currently operating the B767 on both domestic and regional routes. So every Sunday, Wednesday, and Friday, we do Harare Bulawayo Victoria Falls Harare as well as Harare Joburg Harare. And every Tuesday and Saturday, we do Harare Dar es Salaam Harare. The B737 is in the final stages of a major maintenance check, which we call a D-check. After this check, we'll have the mandatory tests and certifications, and we expect to start operating this aircraft from the 1st of April 2020. The ERJ 145. So following the issuance of a Know Your Customer approval by the manufacturer on the 6th of February 2020, Air Zimbabwe is now able to access Fly Embraer softwares and backup manuals. Therefore, preparations are already underway to facilitate a C-check maintenance on the aircraft, training for flight and cabin crew, as well as line maintenance engineers, as we move towards bringing this aircraft to serviceability. And we expect to start operating this aircraft at the beginning of the second quarter.
With Air Zimbabwe currently having a huge debt overhang, the Mint wanted to know from Mr. Tory what, when and how would Air Zimbabwe become profitable.
On how we intend to be profitable as an airline, well, we are in the process of implementing our strategic turnaround plan, STP, and key to the success of the plan is deployment of the right-sized aircraft on appropriate routes, the introduction or reintroduction of strategic routes, and most importantly, ensuring a high level of schedule integrity. Very soon, we'll also be unveiling our new and exciting route schedules, as well as travel packages, which will certainly bring a boost to our tourism and other business sectors. But most importantly, and this is key to our business, bringing travel convenience to our valued passengers. Thank you.
South African-based commercial aviation expert Ogaga Ujo also gave us his views on this.
So, for some context, in October of 2018, the entity was placed under Reconstruction due to the fact that apparently an amount of $35 million was owed to various creditors. So as a first step, I think it's important that the process is finalized and the process is communicated with what it entails. As at today, the government of Zimbabwe has also further noted and communicated that capitalization remains on the cards and liquidation is not in sight, which gives a firm stance in terms of what the shareholders' intent is with the entity. So it's important that that reconstruction process be finalized and capitalization efforts are increased, as well as communicated to all requisite parties.
Look, there remains a debate around whether national airlines still have a place in today's ultra-competitive market. With the future of airlines such as Malaysian Airways, Alitalia and South African Airways in doubt, can national airlines continue to thrive in the 21st century? Many of the national airlines still going strong today have seen governments stepping back into minority ownership or privatizing carriers entirely, as the UK and Spain have done with BA and Iberia, which merged into the International Airlines Group IAG in 2011. With no strategic partners willing to take a stake in Air Zimbabwe and the government of Zimbabwe without the resources to continue financing a loss-making state-owned enterprise, Air Zimbabwe must take a leaf out of the business models of Ethiopian Airlines, Kenya Airways and to some degree Emirates, and come up with a business strategy that makes sense and allows it to stand on its own 2 feet. If Air Zimbabwe does not adapt to function in the new dynamic air transport sector, who knows what the future holds for the proud Zimbabwe national carrier.